Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Daslow, and with me, as always,
it's Ben Vanel here, twiddling the knobs.
Mm-hmm.
As we are wont to do, you got to twiddle those knobs. You got to make sure the levels are right.
Yeah.
And our special guest today is a
Yes.
man whose levels are always tip-top, perfect, right within the parameters. It's a man called Benjamin Russell.
Yeah, I like to keep my levels tight.
Yeah.
You know, I regulate.
Yeah, you're compressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
That's good. I've gotten voiceover stuff from you before, Ben, and I've tried to run it through some effects on Adobe Audition, and the machine just goes, we can't do, we refuse to do this.
Yeah.
This man has given you a perfect file.
Yeah.
It goes against everything in the Adobe code to tinker with this in any way.
Yeah, and then Adobe goes, you need to upgrade your plan
Yeah.
in order to do this.
Yep.
That's right.
But if you cancel, you can't.
Just
and
for
if you
viewing
try,
this-
we'll
yeah.
try and charge you.
Yeah.
I think I actually, this was I posted this and then deleted it. I said someone needs to Luigi whoever runs Adobe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because Jesus Christ, that company and their business model.
They're taking
How
the
good-
absolute
They
piss.
give Wizards of the Coast a run for their money with their level of predatory, greedy little fucking bullshit.
How good
Yeah.
is, I do this all the time where I'm like, I get so filled with rage and I think, you know what, this is what comedy's meant to be. And I'll tweet like, everyone who works at Ticketmaster should kill themselves. And then I'm like, no, I'd better delete this.
Yeah.
It might get in the way of some future opportunities. Like, what do I think?
Yeah.
What do I think
Yeah.
is going to happen? Like, what do I think is what work am I missing out on?
Yeah.
Sometimes though, you should just keep that. I mean, everyone knows it.
Yes.
Well, I think if you use Adobe, you want someone to Luigi whoever runs that
Yeah.
company, but. Just keep it tight and just switch to Blackmagic. That's all I would recommend.
There you go. There are there's open source alternatives.
Yeah.
Or at least there's a program that you just buy once.
Sure.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like the good old days.
The good old days.
You
The good-
fucking
yeah.
own something in this
Yeah.
country.
I like the move that Adobe has where I had this for a bit. I had a pirated version of the software and for some reason, I can't remember what I did, but Adobe got tipped off and then it would come up with a notification of like, now this is pirated. We're going to give you 1 month to get the real deal and then we're shutting this off. And I did. I mean, the amnesty is just a very funny move, but I ended up going like, yeah, that's all the time in the world. And then it was like a day that I had to edit like 4 podcasts and it's like, guess what,
they
bitch,
get you.
time's up. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have had it, but not just shutting it down immediately. Like it being able to know and still be like, bring up the notification of shame every time you log on is kind of a sick move. I do sort of respect that that's in there.
They want to remind you this, you're about to lose this. Get a taste of it now.
Yeah.
And then shell out some clams.
They're toying with you. They're the loan shark that's like,
yeah.
yeah, you can have another month, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, but in that extra month, you probably are going to need a bit more money. How about we just loan you another $100 and we'll see where that leads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that they spend their time. They take their time introducing new features with Premiere Pro and things like that. But the moment you don't pay for it, they're like, we've got to fix this.
Yeah.
It's got real Activision store vibes.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone mentioned video games. Thank
Thank
fuck.
God, we're back. We're back.
Yes.
Well, in a way, Premiere Pro is a video game.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's video.
Yeah.
And I feel like that whole art form, it's like a game. I'm playing it.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
surprised
playing-
they haven't gamified it and been like,
Yeah.
you've done 3 splits.
Anytime I edit in those programs, I plug a controller in and I'm operating the software.
That's
got
the
it.
using the
authentic way to do
sticks
it.
and
Yeah.
You have to do it.
It's really ineffective.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bad way of doing it.
But it's about the journey.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
You're not going to learn anything if you just use a mouse and keyboard.
Well, I mean, I simply find adulting too hard. So if I turn it into a
Yeah.
little video game for myself, then it's like that's the only way the task gets
Well,
done.
that
That's
kind
brave.
of that kind of joke reminds me of a little movie we just saw.
Yeah.
Hot off the presses, we went in maybe a month after it's come out to check out. We figured, there's still not much going on in the world of gaming. There's been no real releases yet at the start of the year. Not really any news. There continues to be a monumental amount of Nintendo Switch 2 leaks.
Sure.
The picture of the motherboard has gone up on a Chinese forum. The full Joy-Con are just out there now, so it has to be a matter of days until they just decide to drop the announcement.
Fun? Does it look nice? I haven't seen anything because I don't care.
It looks like a Switch 1.
Yeah.
You can believe that.
Looks very similar.
Yeah.
It's just like instead of the Joy-Con like clipping on flush, like they're a bit oval. They're a bit ovalish. Yeah.
I hate it. This is the worst.
The motherboard photo leaking is just so all the shit to be out there.
Yeah.
It's like the actual insides. It's like, come on, boys.
Yeah.
Quick Game's a good game. Let's get on with it. Announce the fucking thing and let's get on with our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see Metroid Prime 4 get announced and then delayed. Let's get into the fucking
delays.
I've got death threats I want to send. Let's get into the delays. What we're all about.
Well, I mean, again, death threats and the movie we just saw go hand in hand. Although as
I would love for someone to just like kill someone for those reasons, like actually follow through with their death threats. Just be like, just standing over the head of the CEO of Nintendo and just being like, "This is for not releasing the
announce
Nintendo
it.
Switch."
The trickle down effect of the Luigi thing where everyone's like, this is someone taking matters into their own hands. This is what we live in, this fucked world, and finally something's happening about it, to the trickle down of like, yeah, guys, I did what Luigi did. I blew that executive's head off because they delayed a video game. I don't know, man. Maybe 3 of us agree with you, and then everyone else is
attacking Nintendo as well. I feel like you took the wrong Luigi message from the whole thing. A little bit misguided.
Anyway, Sonic 3, it's in cinemas now.
Please, may it stay there.
I got to say, I got completely brainwashed by the film being out and the response to it. And I kind of realized that what's happened with this film is that, anytime like a new Sonic game comes out and the people that love Sonic are like, I know they've made a lot of stinkers, but this one's actually good. It's good. It's good now. It's good again.
Right.
And then I realized, because that's what I've been hearing about this film. I've been hearing, it's actually pretty good. And I realized that the Sonic freaks out there, they're applying the same level of
hyperbole
false hyperbole to the films now.
And I don't want to be accused of being Sonic racist.
Okay.
But I think that all Sonic people and people that like Sonic are criminals.
Yeah. So
sex criminals specifically.
So we invited
you
you to see this movie with us, Ben. First kind of proper episode back of the year.
Yeah.
And we met you at the cinema and you turned to me and you said, I haven't seen Sonic 1 or 2. And in fact, I actually hate Sonic and all the video games.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is perfect.
I don't like them. I think that they are exactly this. They're Sega trying to make a Mario.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's never been something that I've enjoyed, even as a child. With my friend had a Master System.
Yep.
And just never really resonated. And I don't have any respect for people that like it. Because I think it's dumb. If you're a grown person, and this might offend some people in your Discord.
This will offend at least one person in our Discord who wrote in to say that they were on, what was it? They're on a Sonic fan forum.
Yeah.
And they've got like their own little Sonic avatar that has been inserted into a Sonic fan game.
Yeah. And I think that I've myself, have had a rock bottom with my, and we need to have rock bottoms in order to heal and grow.
Yes, you can't see the light if you're up in it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
For me, it was my alcoholism, and my rock bottom my life is so much better. And I think for that person, take this moment as your rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like use that as a growing trigger for change and personal growth. I think you can do it. I think you would be astounded at the strength that you have. But this is not helping you.
It's not healthy. It's not It's not somewhere you want to be.
No,
I think
you deserve better.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like
people love you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're
yeah,
loved.
yeah. You have
And they're
potential.
worried. They're
This is-
worried about you.
This episode is just an intervention for
Yes.
one
One
listener of the show.
Well, I was going to say also one host of the show because you like Sonic.
Oh.
You have love for Sonic.
Yeah, I've got, I don't
And
know.
you love this movie. You said it was 5 stars.
You said it was the best movie.
best
Yeah, I
movie
was
ever.
like crying, I was
Yeah.
clapping, I was
Yeah.
whooping and cheering.
You
Yeah.
got up and did like a couple of air punches even
Yeah.
in the preview for Minecraft.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys could see in the dark, but I was dabbing pretty frequently throughout the film.
Yeah.
I do. I like Sonic, but I definitely like.
Why?
Just because just purely the nostalgia thing. It just,
Yeah, right.
like.
But even-
everything about the games back in the day, it just worked on me, hitting those like 12-year-old pleasure centers of the brain of like,
Right.
he's cool and it's bright and colorful and also like it's Japanese pixel art stuff, even though I didn't fully know what that was at the time. But it just like, you get older and you're like, oh, all the stuff I like is from like sort of the one part of the world, even though Sonic is he's kind of a collab between the Japan and American offices.
But yeah,
certainly I'd like over time, like I liked the Mega Drive games at the time, but I've never really interacted with the like the two throwback 2D ones that they've made, but all the like 3D ones that are ongoing, I've tried a couple of them and again like there's been a couple that have been remastered and people are like, oh, this is one of the really good ones,
Right.
and they've remastered, it's really good, and then you play it and you're like, this sucks.
It
What are people
seems-
talking about?
Yeah.
It's really become a fringe kind of fandom.
Yeah.
And I think people probably enjoy that. I guess that I can see that being, the equivalent of knowing a band that no one else likes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
also, it taps into the like some people who have the real DeviantArt thing where there are so many like weird characters in Sonic.
And they
that
love
all-
making porn for
Yeah,
it.
that all kind of look the same. So to come up with your own character that would fit in the Sonic universe is quite easy. The template is just
Sure.
there for you to go, the eyes all look like this. They've all got little arms and little shoes that look like this. And so if you're like a fan art person, because so much of what is like official Sonic character artwork looks like fan art itself.
Yes.
If that's
Yeah.
if that's a thing that you're into, it's like easy enough to just make up a little character and go like, this could really easily fit in the world of Sonic.
Yeah.
And it
Which is
could.
where I want to be for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
Sonic is the Ice Age to the Toy Story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like it does have that weird cult appeal because like he was the mascot for a system for a company that stopped making consoles because
Yeah.
they were so bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it has that weird contrarian like cachet or something. But
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. I never really liked the Sonic games growing up. I never had a Master System or a Genesis or anything, but I'd go to a friend's place and it would be like the house where you're like, everything's a bit off. Like everything smells a bit weird.
The friend that had it,
Yeah.
he was like, I think the third youngest in a huge Catholic
Yes.
family.
Yeah,
They had
yeah,
like 7 kids.
They all bullied each other.
Yeah. The house was always kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
You can't not be fucked up with 7 kids in it.
Yes. Yeah. They eat like the different kind of deli meat that you don't eat.
They
like
had
all of that
chickens in the
stuff.
backyard. Yes.
Yeah.
Toilet comes directly off the kitchen. You're like,
Yeah.
what the hell? What's going on?
Yeah.
Everything, just a
This
little.
all checks out.
Yeah, no, I had the exact same friend with like the weird older brother who was kind of scary, all
Yep.
of that shit. And he had the Sega, and like that's where I played Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. And you know, I have fondish memories of that. And the modern Mortal Kombat games are good, but Sonic just never really.
No.
Always like and we've talked about it, like the mechanic of like it's so fun to go really, really fast, but then there are constantly
They put a
obstacles.
wall in front of you and,
have
yeah.
to stop fucking dead on the spot.
I think what never really appealed to me, A, it kind of always gave me a bit of a headache, and B, like my undiagnosed ADHD brain couldn't really focus on everything because it's so bright colors.
Yeah, it's so busy.
and it's so
yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on. I think it was an overstimulation. And I don't, trying to sort of not like objective, I think that when I first was introduced to it, I don't think I liked the style, the art style particularly. it just never feels connected, and I don't know what it is. And you're like, you're an idiot, Ben. You like Mario, and that's a fucking mess.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, but pipes.
Yeah.
No, but there's
Little
weirdly-
mushrooms.
I think
Yeah.
in the first
It made
couple
no
of
sense.
games,
You're right, and you're
there's-
absolutely
yeah.
right to say. You know.
Yeah, there's a bit of consistency, I think, in the first like couple of games, but then certainly once they start getting into 3D and all of a sudden there's like actual human characters in it, it's like
Right.
where are we? Like where does
Yeah.
any of this take place? Like Mario has like a weird sort of nonsensical consistency to it.
Yeah.
Even though it is a very like
You can argue with me on that, and I'll just say, yeah, you're absolutely right, because I don't give a fuck. But yeah, I think that it sort of lacks as that. It feels to me that it lacks that kind of cohesiveness. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah. But so all of these things come together to make us the perfect audience to go and see
Yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at the official cinema of the podcast.
Yes.
The Docklands Hoyts.
Yep.
Yeah.
We saw a
Well, the
midday
only
screening.
Everyone else was in there with children.
Yes.
Yep.
And so you were like, no.
Yeah.
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 No. There's not even other nerds here.
I don't mind that cinema. I got to go there sometime and see an actual good movie
It's nice.
because
It's
I've
It's a
only
great
ever been
cinema.
there
Yep.
to see stuff for this pod.
There's never anyone there.
Exactly.
I think
exactly
I've only
right.
ever seen bad movies. This, Uncharted,
Yeah.
Sonic
God.
1, Mario.
Yeah.
See, both of those, like Uncharted and Mario, kind of do fit into the same genre as, like, the moment it ends, I don't remember anything of
Yeah.
it. It's
Yes.
like I didn't even hate the film.
Yeah.
Because
right.
It's like it never happened.
That's why we have to do these pods directly after we've seen the
Yeah.
film. Because once I'm in the car heading home, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It was-
already rapidly leaving my brain.
Every
honestly.
like the plot was just like a Saturday morning cartoon, and I can get behind all that Saturday morning cartoon shit, like the hand waving and the ridiculousness of, like, you love this part where they're at that Japanese cafe or restaurant, and
Yeah.
then the Colonel's just there.
Yeah,
it's like this
serious,
fun.
stern old man pops
Yeah.
up wearing his uniform and is surrounded by soft, plushy animals and shit.
talking
It's-
very seriously to Sonic
Yeah,
about the fate of the
yes.
world.
So I
Yeah.
think any
Heavily decorated general who's like 80 years old.
yeah, I think any argument that the plot was unoriginal or not totally paint by numbers doesn't matter.
Not really.
Like,
Yeah.
you're an idiot if you're bringing that up.
Yeah,
because
Right.
yeah, it's a children's film.
It's a very early children's film, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And there were a couple of moments of like true absurdity that I thought were really funny. Just completely like treating like human characters die in the film.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
just like contrasting that with a blue animated hedgehog.
Yeah, a
It's-
child dies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A child
yeah,
dies.
child dies.
Yeah.
A child dies, an old man dies. It's a guy ends up with his arm in a sling. It's very violent.
Again, I'd kind of heard that. Yeah, it's got a decent-ish critical score and everything. So I was like, kind of looking
insane.
forward to it. And then within the first like 5 minutes, the setup scene that we see of Sonic and Knuckles and Tails hanging out with James Marsden and his girlfriend, and just every line of dialogue was like nails down a chalkboard, just unbelievably bad stuff.
I've recently sort of fallen in. I've been like trying to make my own kind of chat AI model, like fuck with it, and it's super fun because I want to understand what is going to decimate my entire industry, right?
Yeah.
I was
You
like,
want to be ready to cross the picket line.
I want to. No, I just want to know what. I want to know what
Yeah.
is going to make me.
You want when
change.
they rise up and they're crushing us all. You want the machine to look at you and say "Dada,"
Yeah.
and then you'll be
You were
saved.
nice. You're nice. You're one of the good ones.
Or at least be able to see through the code like
Yeah.
Neo does
Yeah.
and be like, at least I understand what's happening to me as it destroys my life.
And the way that this film was sort of structured sort of does, like, you cannot convince me otherwise that it wasn't, the AI did not have a hand in at least writing this film.
Yeah.
Because it suffers from the same things that I've been seeing with AI, which is it just will forget stuff. Like, you'll be playing, like, having a, like, fun kind of making a story. And it's really interesting. I've been fucking with Superbad. Like I gave him the script of Superbad and been
Right.
like, give me these characters
Yep.
and let's see. And it has made me laugh.
Yeah,
It is
okay.
funny.
Before the pod, you're like,
Yeah.
I haven't been playing many video games. I haven't been playing COD. I've fallen out of love with such childish pursuits.
It's so dumb. It's
I've
like
been rewriting Superbad.
no. If I could give you context, it is like some of those brainless shit that you do when it's over the Christmas break.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had Maggie's parents were over.
Okay.
And I was just on the computer, just like fucking with doing some dumb and
Yeah,
useless.
yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun to waste an
So what do
afternoon.
you do? So talk us through what you're doing with Superbad.
Oh, I cannot possibly, but like I've put the script in and
Right.
like been like,
Generate the model,
Let's do
you
a
get-
role play with these characters, and it's
Okay,
super fun.
sure, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And halfway through some of those things, it'll just forget everything. It'll
Right.
just
Like,
be
you know,
like,
yeah.
here's another response that has nothing to do with anything.
Right.
And,
Right.
and that's just the limitations of my model because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like 20 graphics cards that
Yeah.
I
Sure.
can run it through.
Sure. You don't have Paramount Studios resources.
Even Paramount Studios, I don't think like ChatGPT 4 is so far the best public thing, and
Yep.
that even forgets.
Even
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's like people will go like, "Oh, check out how good it is." I got it to write an episode of Seinfeld where they all, I don't know, go and buy a PlayStation 5, and
Right.
you read it, and it's like, Jerry, look at this, George. I got a PlayStation 5, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it
Yeah.
knows the characters' names, but even just like personality traits, it's barely got a handle.
And I did
on.
get bored of it because it does need so much. Like every response, you're kind of going, "Oh, this isn't kind of how that character." This isn't.
And then
that
at a certain
character.
point, you're like, "Oh, I'm just writing this now."
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
That's 100% what happened.
right.
I'm just doing this.
Yeah.
This is boring.
I had the good idea to do a sequel to Superbad.
Yeah, now I'm just sitting
Yeah.
here
And
writing
now I'm just
Superbad
writing it,
fanfic
yeah.
on
Yeah.
spec.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dumb.
McLovin,
I
you're
got
so
bored.
cool, Ben Russell.
No, I was McLovin. It's really funny. Like I love Superbad, and I
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
fantastic.
why not?
Yeah.
And also
Emma
like,
Stone, sleep with me instead, Ben
and there's
Russell.
a bunch of models for Cyberpunk, and
Right.
then there's a bunch of porn models.
Right.
As with anything AI, you cannot try and like get into it as a hobby without having to wade through just a pile of filth.
Right.
And so that kind of wears you out.
Right.
But you're
yes,
right.
the models still have so many flaws that are apparent in this film. Now,
yeah.
they could have been like a human screenwriter who is being like the effect of a bunch of studio executives on a screenwriter may be similar to the flaws of AI, but either way, it's a terrible script.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
or a lot of
halfway through,
screenwriters-
like it does get to that memory limit, this script of this film, and it will just forget references that it's already made that it could easily connect.
Right.
And it forgets jokes, and it kind of is like, oh no, we kind of got to recap this because the AI's forgotten. I've got to retrain it quickly. Put some those little square parentheses in and go. By the way. Let's recap. And it
Yeah,
goes,
right.
thank you so much for recapping the story. I will take this into account.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And 5 minutes later, it will forget it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of stuff in this that's like a really clumsy early on thing about Sonic's human friend telling him, you got to always listen to what's in your heart. And then that really clumsily comes back at the very end.
Yeah.
There's a thing where Dr. Robotnik is obsessed with Spanish telenovelas, but then there's also a running thing of him secretly speaking French.
Yeah.
And the film doesn't seem to know which
No.
of those is the funnier joke to land on, so
the
it just
AI
kind
is
of
not
does
capable
both.
of
Weaves in and out of them.
differentiating
yeah.
between French and Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're both
and
romance languages.
So it's those like key moments that that have really convinced me that this is a completely like I probably the screenwriter like union wise has to have his name attached or her name attached.
Yep.
But so you can't, obviously I didn't write all of it. They've had to put in the prompts.
Yeah,
but
because
Yeah,
also
yeah.
sometimes you see a film where the script feels like this, and then you get to the end and it'll have like script by and like 15 names come up,
Yeah.
and you go, oh,
Right.
well, that's why. Like everyone's worked on like one scene, and there's no cohesiveness, and it's
Yeah.
been punched up and redone by multiple different people. But yeah, when it's this disconnected, and I think there were maybe 3 names in the
Right.
which is like maybe a writing duo and then like a bit of punch or whatever.
The
It's
software
like,
engineer.
It doesn't track. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't track for a small enough team as that
Totally.
to feel so disjointed in what's going on.
And it like, yes, the plot is paint by numbers and it's very, very formulaic, but it's also, it feels very hollow. It doesn't feel like a particularly, like you can do a classic hero's journeys. You know, there's so many tropes that you can just
You
do.
don't. I think there are enough movies and kids movies out there that you don't. We all know it's been proven that you don't need to like reinvent the wheel plot wise. You just have to have sort of heart and just a little modicum of self-respect.
Yes.
Yeah, you can watch
and also respect for the kids. But this is one of those films that does talk down to children quite badly.
Yes.
I would
Yeah,
say.
I do think kids would like it in the sense that like the
yeah.
action stuff is kind of fun. I do like that. I kind of outside of just the moment to moment dialogue and how stupid a lot of it is. I kind of did like the way it was kind of clipping along at the start. It's like I think it it's nice that we're the third movie now. We're right in there. Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, they're all buddies. They're a little team. They get sent off to Shadow's broken out of prison. They get sent off to investigate that. They team up with Robotnik to find out what's... I kind of liked all of that sort of stuff.
And to the movie's credit, all of the voice actors appear to or sound like real people.
I think
not
they're real
AI.
human beings, yes.
So they're not going full Activision with like secretly replacing voice actors. I mean, I think any movie or animated film that we're seeing that has real people voicing the actors from now on, we need to be like, this is good, keep doing this,
thank
please.
God.
Because those voice acting is one sort of field that is going to is in danger.
Yeah.
Big time, yeah.
Because I mean, already the issue over the past 20 to 30 years was celebrities replacing actual voice actors, right? Like,
fine,
talent.
bring that on.
But yeah, exactly. It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. Better than a
the
robot.
bots.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still kind of pleasantly surprised every time I see like a big budget animated film and see how incredible some of the 3D animation stuff is these days. Like, there was some cool stuff. There was some bright flashing lights to keep me entertained a little bit.
All of Shadow's backstory, I kind of like, even though that just is from the games, but I've never played any of the games that have Shadow in them. He's like, if you haven't seen it, he's also a little alien that they find, and they kind of put him in this lab to harness his power, and then the lab blows up because of his power, and they don't know what to do with him, and so they've kept him in stasis for 50 years, and then he breaks out and he wants to get revenge.
It's a classic trope of this is the analog to, or your counterpart
Yes.
to the hero.
Yes.
If the hero had a hard life and not been lucky by, if Superman had not been,
Raised
land
by
Americans.
and
gone to Russia instead.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of cool, like it's Bond villainy type stuff.
Yeah.
Fun. I like that. I love a good sort of evil counterpart to our hero.
I like a guy just kind of floating there in some goop.
Yeah.
I like a guy being trapped in goop. It's a cool visual.
Yeah. And then he gets out of the goop and he's not happy.
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
this is you're
You're a good guy.
When it first thing you see is a subtitle on the screen, Tokyo, Prison Island.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, this really sets the scene.
Yeah.
Only white people working in this facility. There appear to be no actual Japanese people employed in this Tokyo prison facility.
There were only Japanese
All
people
Americans.
in that cafe.
Yeah.
Because there's like scenes on the street, but it's
don't
like
wanna-
guys in masks
I
and
don't want to
stuff.
freak
Yeah.
you guys out, but I don't think they went and shot that in location.
What?
Yeah, I don't think.
Fuck?
I don't think there is a prison island.
No.
No, come on.
I saw it on screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked a bit computerish.
Yeah.
I could
Alright.
see pixels, but that's still real.
All right, we're gonna have to have a big talk after the pod.
Yeah.
Mr. Cloud from Final Fantasy, he's a real man. He's my
Okay.
friend.
He can make his way around the whole world in one night because he's really fast.
All right.
He's got those magical reindeer.
I think Ben's had a mental break. He's not able to.
I mean, that movie's done it to me because there are objectively okay things in this film.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, in fact. But I feel like
There's some for the kids. I think
Yeah.
the kids in the theater seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's got maybe the worst soundtrack of any film.
Yeah.
Not talking about the score. The use of needle drops is just absolutely insane. It makes zero sense why they chose these songs. It's
I left the theater and immediately started singing, "Oh, sometimes I got a good feeling." And that song
It's not in there.
is not in that
It's
film.
not in the film, but it is.
But it is that
It's the vibe.
film.
It's
That
the
is the
exact
temp
vibe.
score of the entire film.
Feels
They were
like-
they had that playing in the studio
Feels like I've
constantly.
had Calvin Harris in my ears.
That's
the
our biggest
whole
takeaway
time.
from this film is a song that's not even used in it.
But that is the kind of film it is. Like, nothing really... Like, all of the song choices were terrible, but they weren't, like, Suicide Squad bad where you're like, oh, my God, this is such an obvious choice. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Just like, why did you pick that
I would have
one?
rather an obvious choice than just like, a punk cover of 99 Luftballons
Yeah.
while they're
Yeah.
having a running race. It's
Yeah.
like, why is this playing?
I guess, what
That's
is
true.
it? A Universal film? I mean, it was Paramount at the start, so...
Yeah.
Whatever fucking music library they have, I guess.
That's what
right?
it would be.
Yeah.
100%. Just
Just,
like search for these keywords,
Yes.
and then the database would pop that up.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
But yeah, there was one strange thing that I whispered to you. I was like, early on with the backstory of Shadow, and Shadow is voiced by Keanu Reeves, and he's an older man.
Yep.
And there is a point, and it's supposed to be a child. They do reference it towards him in those points.
A
in the
child that lives in
flashbacks.
the facility where he's
Yep.
being experimented on.
And
Yes.
they reference it, Shadow as a child.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
too.
Right.
So, but he's still voiced by an old man, and they don't do anything to change that. And so there is this kind of like friendship between this old man voiced alien and
Like a
child.
13-year-old, 12-year-old girl, yeah.
And I was like, is this about a pedophile hedgehog?
Is this a
Yeah.
fucking pedo hog?
Is this
And
a
it's weird, and the way that the
Is
like
this dude a pedo?
the way that the child is dressed is that really weird. Like I said to you guys in the car, they set her up like she's fucking Roller Girl from Boogie
Yes.
Nights.
It
It's like
feels
some
real-
following her roller skating around the facility.
Because that's in the 60s, I think, and so she's got
it's a
this
different
like
time.
fucking
It's
Lolita
a different
vibe.
time, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to.
it feels
yeah.
a little Amber Alerty, but
Yeah.
not terrible. Like, obviously, I'm joking, but
it's
at some
just like
point,
an odd discussion that must have happened in the writers' room.
Why
of,
does
like,
she need
get
to
a
be a
child
literal
voice
kid?
for that part.
yeah.
She could be like 18 or 20, like still be young.
She could have been a scientist there,
Yeah.
like just an adult that he had a
can
connection
have a friend
with.
that really cares about him, that shows him some compassion.
Yeah.
That he's really upset
Yeah.
about them dying, and it's still. It doesn't need to be a literal 13-year-old for it to track.
No.
A small point, and maybe I'm nitpicking, but maybe it's just my just want to protect people. Like, I just
Absolutely.
want to make sure that everyone's safe.
Yeah.
Imagine being some-
Am I going to have to call child services?
Imagine being some like old creep who's dating a 15-year-old, and you take them to this movie, and you're like, hell yeah!
Finally, some representation.
Oh man,
Yucky.
yeah. 'cause
We're saying this as three, almost 40-year-old men who went to a children's film.
Yeah, but we're
without any children of our own.
yeah,
No,
but we're
because I
all-
don't want to fucking ruin my life.
But we're all happily committed to a bunch of old bitches back home. So
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah. Shout out to our partners.
shout out to our partners. But no, you're right. It's kind of. It is strange, and the film doesn't try to really like dwell on it, which almost
No.
sort of makes it stranger. And it like
I think it's
there is
best
kind
to
of an
do that.
innocence
Yeah.
to it, but it's
yeah,
like
they do play out. I think they get away with it through the innocence of it.
Sure.
because there's also
yeah.
something weird about like Shadow's not like he, the whole look of him is he's like evil Sonic,
Mm-hmm.
so he's got this scowl, but it's not even like a thing where. You see him back in that time, and he's like, and he's a bit
sure.
more innocent and kind of like young.
They
looking.
don't change
He looks-
the model at all.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks all scowly and angry even back then. So it's
Yeah.
like this is weird.
That's
Yeah.
it. They don't change the model or voice
Yes.
between both flashbacks.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was initially like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like not to nitpick this like 6 to 8-year-old
Yes.
film.
I mean, can we just step back?
I think we need to lean in.
If we can just step back and just say that maybe we are part of the problem.
Yeah,
but yes, why? Because in the first film there is a young Sonic. Like Sonic arrives to Earth and he's a child, and he's
Yeah,
younger,
he's a
and the
little
voice
kid.
is higher, and he's smaller, and it's like we don't get any any sense of Shadow the Hedgehog as a happy little kid,
Little baby.
and then being damaged by his experiences and becoming evil.
That's interesting. Why they didn't just take the young Sonic model that they already have and reskin it.
Absolutely.
Get
Absolutely.
the AI to just make him dark.
Yeah, but like a happy little kid who gets fucked up by being experimented on. That makes perfect sense.
It's a tale as
Yeah.
old as time.
Maybe
It's
that
Tales
was,
as old as
Oh,
time.
Maybe
hell
that
yeah,
was-
brother.
I wouldn't be surprised if that sort of came in test audiences that might have been too dark.
Yeah,
like we've
yeah.
already got a kid dying.
Yeah.
If we have
Sure.
a kid being tortured,
Sure.
then maybe that's just a
Yeah.
bit too much. We got to age him up.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
guess
let's age him up. Let's not age the girl up.
Well,
She's
that would
gotta-
we already
that
cast
would
her.
mean reshoots.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that that Carrey ate up a lot of the budget for
Well,
this.
we need to. I mean, we've talked this long about him. We haven't even talked about our spiritual king, James Carrey.
Yes, the man crawling out of the elephant's ass in the room.
The man.
Because he's
Well done.
I like him in the first film. I don't think that you should bother watching the first film. Ben.
I'm never going to.
But
Did you seriously think there was a risk of that after everything he said?
No, I'm just backing him up. But Carrey isn't.
I'm not going to
awful.
even pirate these films.
And nor should you.
Yeah.
Because that's illegal. But I didn't hate him in the first one. It was him coming back, doing some silly fucking Ace Ventura style shit, and it was pleasant. And he was the best part of the film by far in that first one.
I liked him, but I wonder if I liked him for the same reason that Sonic fans like this film.
Oh yeah,
Pure
pure nostalgia.
clout nostalgia.
Yeah.
It is a good. I mean, there's kind of like a weird sort of line with this where obviously him being in there, a lot of people our age have young children who they'd be going to see the film with.
Yep.
And so it is in many ways a little something for daddy having Jim
Absolutely.
Carrey in there. And he is doing a fun
And
old school Carrey performance.
Can you please just spend a little time telling the audience just a couple of the great little somethings for daddies that are in
Well,
the film?
Yeah. But I will say the Jim Carrey inclusion, it's kind of perfect because it's like people our age are like, oh yeah, he's doing a bit of Ace Ventura gear. And I can imagine little kids really loving it too because he's so clownish.
So wacky,
he's
yeah.
very wacky. He
Yeah.
fits in perfectly. He gets lots of silly stuff to do.
You can understand it because it's two things. It's you're after kids, clearly, but you're also after that nostalgia dollar.
Yes, absolutely.
Like you're
Yeah.
after your Sega freaks.
Absolutely, yes.
You people who grew up on the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
Your
As is
people I
the-
have no respect for.
Yes, yeah. The people who should be under supervision at all times.
So you've got that, and obviously that in terms of like, it's the fine line that you have to tread with making a kids film of having like stuff that's in there that it's for that the adults can
Yeah.
enjoy. That's not too patronizing.
But The
for-
Simpsons,
that's
this
not-
ain't.
all
You know,
that
it's
kind of
not.
stuff.
Yes.
And so Carrey's kind of like the perfect example of that. There's one or two little throwaway lines that made us laugh that were like okay, but then you've got a bit where James Marsden has snuck into a security facility and he's had to like put a USB in
Yeah.
to a system to override a security system and it doesn't work and he takes the USB. He's like, I'll take it out and blow on it.
Yeah.
And people and Tails is like, that's a myth. That doesn't work. And it works immediately. And he's like, just like back in the 90s. And his partner is like, and she goes, best decade ever. And then they high five. And it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in a
It's
movie.
disgusting.
It's really
Unbelievably bad stuff.
poorly
Yeah.
done. I mean, I feel bad for
Yeah.
those actors.
And
Yeah.
someone thought that was something for Daddy. But I
Yeah.
got news for you.
Yeah.
Daddy no life.
yeah,
Daddy wasn't there.
Daddy no like.
Daddy daycare.
Daddy going for cigarettes.
Yeah, he ain't
Daddy
coming back.
ain't coming
he
back.
ain't coming back.
Daddy
boys.
leaving his child unattended in the cinema while he goes to the toilet
Yeah.
for 45
Because
minutes.
Daddy's had an ephany that his life was happier without you.
Daddy could be doing more of this kind of playing the
Yeah.
source material of this
Yeah.
at home by himself.
Daddy
instead
could
of
be
going to the fucking
emulating.
movie.
His house could be clean.
Yeah. What else was there for Daddy in there? There was
There was
like,
a baffling Green Lantern reference.
yes, yes, truly.
Truly, where I leaned over to you and said, "Who is this
Not just
for?"
a Green Lantern reference, but a reference to hate watching the Green Lantern.
Hate watching
Yeah.
the Green
So
Lantern in 2011
So it's
was the line.
This felt, even though they wouldn't have been able to have. I felt like they saw one of the Deadpools and was like,
Sure.
people love Green Lantern references.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, that was
yeah.
the one thing I didn't like about Carrey was that he does a bit of Deadpool where he's like, so he's playing Robotnik
Oh, yeah, that
and he's
doesn't
also
work
playing
either.
Robotnik's grandpa.
Yep.
And I got to say that he does a good. It's very believable. Like
does a great job in those doubles.
He's fucking around with himself. They
Yeah.
do all that stuff really well.
Yeah, that's actually done some of the best double
Yeah.
work I've seen in ages.
Yeah. Very well done. Yeah.
This side of Dr. Evil and Fat Bastard.
Well, they my favorite part of the movie was them dancing, and it is seamless.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very well done.
That was really well done,
And
but
well
then-
performed. Like, he does just have fairly
My
distinct
favorite
performances.
part was them dancing.
Which,
When-
I think that's
when two
the...
Robotniks did dancing.
That is where that crested the absurdity
I liked
threshold
it.
for
Yeah.
me, where it was like,
Yeah.
why wasn't everything committed to that hard? Because
That
I
was-
would have had a much better time.
that
think
bit was
that's
wicked
right.
for
Yeah.
the fellas.
Yeah,
That's how the girlies feel during Defying Gravity.
I held space for it.
I'm holding space for Robotnik and his grandpa dancing to Galvanize by the Chemical Brothers.
Another bizarre choice.
Insane
Yeah.
Song.
Insane. That
Yeah.
one kind of worked. For
Is
the,
this
for
a
the
great-
context of what they were
it's a
doing.
great song.
Yeah. This is a
Personally, I would have
47-year...
used Calvin Harris.
Yes. This is either an AI that's poorly trained or a 47-year-old man who is bad at his job.
At this point, they are indiscernible.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. The hate watching the Green
watching the
Lantern
Green
in
Lantern.
2011. It's like you realize you've made a film that in 15 years' time could be a hate watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
I mean,
reference.
I love that the
Fuck.
thing that has brought multiple industries to their knees is we've created a mediocre 40-year-old man.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, fucking everyone's jobs were taken by mediocre 40-something men.
Already, we already did that, and we found a way to take it from the mediocre 40-year-old men.
First, they came for...
God.
First, they came for our script producers, but I wasn't a script producer. Then they came for our voice actors.
Oh, fuck.
Then they came for our 40-year-old men.
I mean, the thing, Carrey, he's trying to be very big, he's trying to be very Carrey, and he's successful at that. But then every other person that is in this, their performance is, I found, less human and believable than the actual CGI generated alien car. I bought Knuckles and Sonic chatting more than I bought James Marsden talking to his
Yeah.
wife, girlfriend,
Yeah.
whoever.
I think the Sonic franchise in general could have benefited from copying Mario one more time and
Go fully animated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Absolutely.
just for old time's sake.
Yeah.
No, but they
Yeah.
got in first. That's the problem. I bet they wish they... Now that
Yeah.
the Sonic
yeah.
this Mario movie's been a big success, I bet there's a part of them going like, fuck, this actually would have saved us a lot of hassle if we...
Did you ever see the Netflix Knuckles event series?
I didn't. No.
Well, okay.
It's a Paramount Plus. Not to actually
Oh, really?
you about something that I couldn't care less about.
I hate
but I know
both
that
of you for
I know that someone
both of you for having this conversation.
someone will comment, and I just wanted to get in front of that.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
to that
yeah.
person, I want to say it's not
It's-
too late.
It's never too late. That would have been their rock bottom, and I want to,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
keep them out in the
Yeah.
cold a little
Yeah.
longer.
You're loved. You're cherished.
Yeah.
You have options.
Yeah. It's all about choices, guys.
Yeah.
You can make better choices.
What's in here?
Yeah. Lines.
Yeah. They do that in the film.
That's a joke from the movie Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
3.
So Adam
Yeah.
Pally.
So was the film called Sonic 3 the Hedgehog? Because in the titles it
don't
did,
think so.
It is arranged that way, isn't
it
it?
did say
Yeah.
Sonic 3 the
The
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
And I was like,
Oh.
that's cool.
I
This
thought
time
the
he's
film-
the hedgehog.
Wow.
I thought the
shit.
film was called Prison Island, just because that's the first bit of
Yeah,
text.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I thought it was called Original Films. What a weird,
Great.
for an adaptation of a video game, what a production company to be
It's sick.
involved.
It's really good.
beautiful.
The Sega logo that comes up at
Yes.
the start that's just got like little kind of boxes of all games. I was like, I think even though we haven't seen a single frame yet, I think I would rather just watch this for an hour and a half. Slowly
Just a little
zooming
montage.
out on little windows
Yeah.
of Daytona, USA and shit.
Sure, Like a Dragon was
Yeah,
in there. I was
yeah.
like, oh,
The
that
first
would be
thing
better.
I said when it started was, I think I'm going to really hate this film. So
it
I
was-
was already...
I
that's
was-
my bias.
I really
Sure,
wanted to
sure,
keep an
sure.
open mind. I was ready to be impressed, but
Yeah.
literally those first few moments of dialogue, I was like, "Oh Jesus,
We're in for a ride
Christ.
here.
It's going to be a bumpy ride, folks."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was some casting... I'm always happy that there's voice actors for things. I love hearing real people. But I think the casting choices were strange.
I really don't know
For
why they've gone for
Keanu?
like
Keanu,
Idris Elba
yeah.
and Keanu. Why they've felt like, let's get some real heavy hit. Like
A couple
again,
of like late 50s men.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing these. Yeah, like
Schwartz, I can understand because he sounds like
vibe wise, he's in the ballpark. But yeah, they getting these old dudes who are just like kind of deep voiced. It doesn't. I wonder what kids think of it. It's like, is that remind
don't-
them of like their dad? Like,
I just don't know if Keanu has the kind of vocal, and that's not his fault. He just doesn't have that vocal dynamism.
Yeah.
Same with Idris.
yeah, both
they
very
both of whom
monotonous.
have
Very
pretty
monotonous.
minimal amount of dialogue in the film,
Yeah.
and it's fun to imagine. I mean, what do you think the hours logged in the studio were for them?
Half a day.
Very. I always
Yeah.
think of like,
At
you know,
most.
Yeah.
when Krusty's recording the lines for his
Yes.
talking doll.
I reckon they can do that. I don't think. I think they probably would have scheduled the whole day, but it feels to me like a 2-hour type vibe.
Sure,
At most.
sure.
Yeah.
It's like 20 lines in total,
Which
or
is
something,
sick. And
Yeah.
I'll never besmirch anyone for getting
No.
fucking paid.
Daddy's got to earn.
Your daddy's got to work.
Yeah.
Except for Jack Black. I've had enough of him.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we
earning.
saw a trailer for the Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
And
He
again,
needs- Jack Black
visually,
needs to
there's like
stop.
bits of it
Yeah.
that the whole kind of the design of it looks all right.
I think it
but-
looked disgusting, as I do with a lot of films that aren't like the Pixar, Disney animated films. I didn't mind Sonic 3, but yeah, like fucking that Minecraft movie. I've never liked Minecraft because I don't like the blockiness and all
Yeah.
those like voxel like.
I never got it. It passed me by.
Yeah,
I was,
yeah, and I don't like that style.
But my
and,
niece uses it. They use it in school now. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
right.
It's really
fucking hell.
there's an education tool, so it's a big thing.
Yeah, and I guess
And it will make billions of dollars.
It'll
Sure,
be a bit. It'll
sure.
be a bit.
Every
like,
child will see it. Yes.
You'd be sitting there as a parent seeing Sonic 3 being
But
like,
again,
God
Jack-
damn it, that's the next one I'm going to have to fucking
Yes.
go.
Jack Black again, who's already been in Borderlands. He's done the Mario.
Yep.
Like
Jumanji 2.
It's kind of like, oh, give it
Give it a
just-
fucking rest.
Just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You got bills to pay.
I
But
guess-
just give us. It's same with that other dude. The
The Rock.
no, not the Rock. Timu Rock. Aquaman.
Oh, yes,
Momoa.
Momoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Momoa,
Momoa.
just pump the brakes
Momoa.
just a bit.
Yeah.
You're just a little bit. They're both of them. I feel like they're just a slightly. Jack Black very much oversaturated.
Absolutely, yes.
It's a bit of
Especially-
like, I get
yeah.
doing one of these, you know, do them,
Sure.
make a ton of money, make a ton of like fairly easy money. But when it's all you're doing and you're in like 3 within a year,
Yeah,
it's
Right.
like,
It's like Timothée Chalamet.
Ah, yeah.
Just too much.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah, someone's
Stop.
got to. Was
Take
it
a holiday.
DiCaprio took a real break after like what, The Beach or something like that, and he was like,
there was
"I've got to stop because I was in Titanic, and people are gonna fucking
Yeah.
Yeah,
hate
he-
the side of me."
yeah, he took a little breather.
Yeah. So he needs
Yeah.
to have a little word with Timothée.
Like I can't watch him anymore. I can't. When I see
I
Timothée,
saw-
I'm not going to watch that Bob Dylan film.
Oh yeah.
Even
You're
though
not
I
gonna
love
watch
Bob-
me
I'm just like, I don't.
sing a song.
Why are you?
Yeah.
Why are you choosing one of a babe for Bob Dylan straight up? And
Right.
why is Timothée is just chasing that Oscar? I've never seen someone.
Yeah.
I
chase it
saw
so
him
hard.
interviewed on Colbert recently, and I'd never seen him in interviews, and I was like, "Oh, we've fucking broken this young man." It's kind of
Yeah.
like he's like got this insane energy to him, where you go, "Oh, we've convinced him that he's like really funny and charming," and I just
Yeah.
don't think
Right.
that he is. He's like he's classic like. Grew up in front of everyone. He's like this like weird little, but he's like everything he says, the crowd is like losing their minds, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we've
I mean, it's-
destroyed this young man's
He's,
brain.
he's
Yeah.
in, going out with Kendall Jenner
Yeah.
now, and
Yeah,
it's just
that's-
like you're far gone. Like,
Yeah.
you are. I have no doubt that you're a nightmare hang.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real punish to be around.
Ooh,
Yeah, he was like, he was making jokes about Charlie XCX and stuff, and I just found it funny in the interview. Colbert's like, so when did you when did you discover Dylan? When did you get into it? And he's like, oh, when they asked me to do the movie, and it's like, man, Just make up a
it
story that you used to listen to it with you. No one wants to hear this. No one wants
Your
to
mama
hear
used to sing you fucking
Do what
Blowing in
Ryan
the
Johnson
Wind.
did and say you've always loved Star Wars.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You have
gotta.
to.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you don't need to make it a thing where people can uncover a thing and be like, oh, he's actually lying. But it's like, everyone's dad loved Dylan growing up. Just fucking say that.
Yeah.
It's just do that. Like
I've never heard any of it.
Yeah.
And then he played this video of him in his trailer working on Dune, and like, because he was having to like learn the songs and the guitar and everything while he's doing that film, and he's like doing a little Dylan parody song about fucking the world of Dune, and it's like, again, I don't want to see this.
No.
I don't. This is like a fun little thing for you to have done and maybe send some friends, but it's like this being the like, check out the little sketch that he made in his trailer.
You host SNL once.
Give me
and
a
you think you're a
fucking break.
comedian.
But I mean, that's what sort of this culture of celebrity does. It just fucking rots your brain and
totally.
it sends you. It kind of at such an early age, he's definitely will have that sort of arrested development for the rest of his life.
Go back to Coming Into a Peach, I say.
Which one's that?
Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's
okay.
good in that. I don't hate him as an actor.
first saw him in Lady Bird, which I
Yeah.
love.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
He's great.
playing a little shithead, he's good.
Yeah, and I don't mind him in June either.
I thought that he was the weakest link in June.
I think,
I thought that his performance was
Paul?
like just real wooden.
yeah,
I've seen him do better. He's not a bad actor.
I
I
think
just
that's-
didn't. I thought that he was the weakest.
I thought Zendaya was the weakest. I think
I think
Paul is-
Zendaya's character was the weakest.
Yeah, yeah. I think
It's
Paul
like,
is a bit
did
of a...
Christopher Nolan write this role?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
How'd you get Christopher Nolan to write the Zendaya character, did you?
She's supposed to
'Cause-
sit on a hill and frown and
What's
have no
the-
depth. Yeah.
What's the absolute fucking banger that's in Oppenheimer? Is it like Florence Pugh's writing him and she's like, I am become God, destroy.
Yeah.
While she's
No,
like,
yeah.
tits out.
Yeah.
My
fucking
favorite,
in.
my favorite Nolan is the wife in Tenet when they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's built this device that can destroy all of history. Everyone will cease to exist, and she goes, even my son.
Oh.
And I was like, and that's in that movie where I was like, I just laughed and was like, no, this is dog shit.
This
Yeah.
is a complete
Nolan-
side thing. Did you see The Creator?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Me and Angus Trust could always laugh about how there's a bit in that where he's looking at the moving photos thing,
Yeah.
and he picks up a photo of himself and whoever the character is doing something, and he looks at the photo and then he goes, "Ah, yes, I remember this." One of the all-time greats. One of the absolute banger moments. in
Hoorah!
film.
Alice and Janney is the Marine. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just bonkers.
I'll see you in Valhalla.
It's interesting to note that Denzel Washington obviously did not pass on the acting gene
No.
to his son.
Talk
Yeah.
about wooden. Yeah, John David is there's not a lot going on there.
Oh my God.
Although Black Klansman, pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is pretty
True.
damn good.
Yep, yep.
Again, maybe
Good
he's
call.
got a bit of Chalamet. He needs the right role.
I think it's, I mean, with Black Klansman, you can be like, well, the director
Yes.
probably
Director
had
and
something
script.
in hand to that.
Bangers.
So I will say, just to bring it back to Sonic, we were talking after the
Sure.
film,
Thank
and Ben, you were saying
Fine.
that that was the worst one of the three.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
I do
Yeah.
think that I liked it more than 2 because they quite smartly they do not have the human people doing all that much.
Sure.
There's no 45-minute side plot of James Marsden going to a wedding in Hawaii for
Right.
sort of no discernible reason. And apparently in the Knuckles series, the Adam Pally
right.
sheriff character is like his little offsider for
Okay.
all of that.
'Cause was
and
Pally-
he's quite annoying and bad in it, which is why he only
Okay.
gets like a little slice in this.
Yeah. I forgot Pally was even in the other movies at all. I thought maybe he was just in that, but yeah, weird bit role for him now.
Weird little moment where he turns up and
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
Oh, was he from the Netflix? Because I didn't.
Yeah, he's in. So
I
he's
was
in
like, who-
one. He's like he's in number 1 and I guess 2.
Is
and
he-
then
he's like
the
a-
main guy in
Because
the
I just
Knuckles
assumed that
series.
he was like Ben Schwartz's mate. That he was like,
Which
I'll
he
get
is,
you-
right? Like that is probably
Yeah.
is
I'll get
why
you
he's
a-
in it. Yeah.
I'll get you wrong.
I'll get you a really bad role
So
in this.
yeah, as the king of prov, why is Ben Schwartz doing this role?
for money because improv doesn't pay.
Yeah.
There's no. It is strange to get such an amazing improviser to do something like this, but at the same time, it is a big studio film, and you would have to pay. There's union rules, like you can't.
And you're voice acting. It's for someone like him too. It's a fucking breeze.
Even to be like, you wouldn't have time allotted to be like, okay, now take this one for a wall.
Right.
You would just be like, at the end, let's do a couple of grabs of reaction.
Yeah.
But there's rules. You can't just improvise. This isn't a web series, you know.
Well,
it's
like the when they are able to, when there's been writers' strikes and before the Actors Guild has gone on strike in solidarity, they'll still film stuff, but you can't. You have to do it off the page, right? So you can't be like an actor being like, well, my gut instinct tells me that this line is dog shit, so I'll say it differently.
Right.
Yeah, technically that's
the smaller the production is, the more that kind of improv can happen. But
right.
It just
because you're not paying that person that much, so it can't blow the budget out.
Yeah.
If they
And and it takes more time.
But why get him then? Like from the studio's perspective, why don't you just get any guy who's got a high pitched fun voice? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because John Mulaney was too expensive.
He was busy.
Yeah.
Knocking Sheila's up.
Yeah, his wife.
It is.
Well, yeah, specifically his wife.
It is still so.
She is
funny.
a Sheila.
That's true.
It is still so funny that they have, Ben Schwartz, comedian, known to people.
Yep.
Idris Elba, Keanu Reeves, and then the voice of Tails is just the person that plays him in the video games.
Well,
It's
yeah,
so
that is
funny.
the other. Like, yeah, if you're gonna do that, I mean, maybe it's a woman, right? It's a female voice actor. Yeah, like it was.
It
But
suits
that's
the character. It's like,
But that's
absolutely.
how little kind of they give a fuck about the female roles, I guess, in films.
Yeah.
Not to be a, bleeding bloody
woke?
PC gone mad.
yeah.
Speaking of which, Kristen Ritter, great actress. Like
Cashing a check. It's nice to see her.
cashing a check, wearing a uniform.
Why the fuck
looking
not?
stern. Yeah.
I think bring back the Jackie Chan style bloopers at the end, but just show the actors walking up to the bank and giving the check.
That's good. Fuck, that's great. Imagine wedging that into a movie right at the end.
Just posing with the Ferrari they bought.
Yeah.
Like
Someone sitting there looking at their bank account the minute the cash
posing
hits.
outside there for
Yes.
sold sign.
I mean, yes, if you're going to make such a fucking shameful cash grab like Sonic 3 the Hedgehog, give us some of that. Give us some honesty.
It is amazing, and you can see that sort of rigidity in that film because you have Kristen Ritter, excellent,
Yes.
very talented. You have John Marsden. He's proved himself.
James.
He has.
Yeah, the guy who wrote Tomorrow When the War Began wasn't in this film.
Yeah, he's dead. Rip.
Yeah.
That's I reckon that's the
Yeah.
only reason he wasn't in it is because
Rip.
he's dead.
Yeah.
James
yeah.
Marsden, sorry, but he's very funny and
Absolutely, yeah.
obviously doing this so he can do fun things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing is that these movies are like this it's making money. Like people are seeing them.
Yeah,
So again, it's
yeah.
like giving you that audience familiarity, people check you out in other things. Like
Yeah,
it makes
exactly.
sense as a thing to be in. Cash the check.
100%.
But
Yeah.
it does seem like especially for him where most of his time is interacting with a tennis ball on a stick.
Yes.
Mm.
Does seem like it's like sort of
I
just
think they
boring work.
They probably would have gotten Andy Serkis.
Just crawling around.
I wonder if they
creepy
have
little Sonic.
I had to be a hedgehog. I really studied the hedgehog behaviors.
Do you know, there's a story I love about when they were filming Roger Rabbit, and the guy who did the voice came down to set, and he'd like made himself a Roger Rabbit costume, and would be like off camera, sort of doing the lines and stuff, and they'd be like, "Charles, you're not on. You don't have to dress up because it's a little."
We
and
didn't
he's
ask
like,
you to do this.
Yeah, no,
like-
I know. And he would just do it for the fucking hell of it. I love the idea that they're doing, but even that just seems like such a, you couldn't rely on the computers. So it would have been like, we have to have the guy doing the voice in the room, doing some version of the lines with Bob Hoskins that will like then replace with a proper studio. That, like it'll help the act. The idea of Schwartz having set foot on location at any point for any of this.
No, any of the voice actors meeting each other, not just popping in.
Yeah.
But I do love watching those. There's this great interview with Hoskins where he's like, I didn't realize what I had signed on to, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Man,
I hate this.
there was no precedent for it at the
No.
time. You would have been sitting there where there's
Yeah.
he's like strapped to a little whatever they were using. Like if you've ever seen the like behind the scenes footage of how they filmed the cab chase where he's in the cartoon cab and he's on this little like tiny little kind of like mini go-kart with like a seat kind of it's like a tiny little buggy that he's on the top of that's being controlled by someone else.
Right.
And you would just be sitting there being like, what the fuck am I no, and they wouldn't even be able to show you. It's not like they can go home and knock up a little bit of it in an evening.
Sure,
to give
yeah.
you, it would have been like, I imagine years later before you even saw a shred of what it looked like.
Yeah, I think it was more. It was like the only thing that was sort of keeping him on was the fact that it was a Zemeckis film.
Yeah.
And then he sort of, I think that he also talks about the Mario Brothers film.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, ooh. So that gave him a sense.
Yeah. Man, he's a fucking pro.
I used
though,
to be
'cause
King Lear.
he's so fucking good in Roger Rabbit. Like,
Yeah, he is.
to not really have a grasp of how any of it is possible technologically, man, he just plays it straight.
Yeah, he kills it.
Oh, he's so good.
I mean, that's the thing. I watch that movie maybe once every 6 months. I
Right.
throw it on, and it's like
Masterpiece.
you believe him interacting with Roger Rabbit more than you believe like 90% of CGI voice acted
It's
stuff.
no
that comes
Cool
out now.
World.
Oh god, no.
Hell no.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, we got
It's
a
no
couple
Brad
of
Pitt and Kim Basinger.
Hollywood if she could. Etched into my brain.
What a terrible film.
Well, we better wrap it up there. That is us.
We've exhausted Sonic 3.
done
How
it.
many bags of peanut M&Ms would you give it?
I had crispy M&Ms.
How many? Okay, no. How many Verizon Wireless presents the Sega, whatever the fuck? It's got a. You can cut that bit out.
No.
No.
No, that'll be the intro.
You get what I was trying to do.
I guess if you're going with like, I reckon maybe like a 12-year-old would have a good time. It does move along at a pretty good like stuff is happening pretty constantly.
Yeah.
I would give it. I mean, I thought it was
Bright, colourful.
I wouldn't patronize my child with that if I had a child. I watched like.
No, but if the child was being really annoying, you would plop them in front of the screen and you'd say, just give me some fucking peace.
Yeah.
Go and smoke on the balcony and think
Yeah.
about your choices.
Yeah.
But I would probably give it 5 bags of crispy M&Ms.
Yeah,
and,
right.
I'd give it a little sip from Tommy's Coke as well.
Yeah.
I'd give it a perfect 10.
Woo!
My film of the year.
Yeah.
The best film of 2024.
Yeah, what have I seen so
Okay.
far in 25? I've seen Sonic 3 and I've seen Better Man.
This
At
has been
cinemas.
the first film that I've watched in 2025
Fantastic.
in the cinema.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait. No, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, fuck.
Because I saw Anora last year in the Goochmas.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right, nice.
Great
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
It's
gotta
was
say it.
definitely my favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, right.
so good.
Treat yourself. Now, that is a film that is full of a little something for daddy.
Yeah, it's
That's
sexy
almost
as hell.
exclusively.
But like, I loved how it's kind of a cross between like I would say Hustlers because of the stripper thing, but
Sure.
also like a Uncut Gems elements
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like,
Big time.
Yes.
I love the fact that it was all kind of like this happens and this happens, but it really felt like it was influencing our characters, and our characters were influencing the action as well. Like,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
Yeah.
just-
we're big Sean
Baker
fans.
is
Yeah,
just
Baker Boy.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He's
naturalistic.
Florida
but-
Project is
He never
my
misses.
favorite all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a king.
Anyway, let's talk about that off air because we aren't talking about video games
Yeah,
anymore.
there's no bloody
Yeah.
there's no bloody Florida Project video game.
With
well,
and if
there
it
could
was,
be.
it would be an Annapurna independent
Yes.
film
Yeah.
about
Yes.
either
Yeah.
like dementia or coming out as gay to your parents.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you for joining
Yes.
us.
Thank you.
You got anything you want to plug?
Just to love each other, and to all those Sonic fans out there, you know, it gets better.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
It's all about
sometimes
sometimes
how
how
you
you
feeling.
feeling.
God damn.